Going to the objective, gonna take the back way. When I get there, I'm gonna hack it straight away. Oh, railgun! Oh, turn around, going other way. Red line rail turrets, the bane of every vehicle user's existence. But hello everybody, welcome to the video. Right now you are watching a video about the Scrambler rifle, and in this game that you're watching, you're going to see me use all three types of the Scrambler rifle, from the basic, the enhanced, and the complex, I guess you could say, or the standard, advanced, and prototype Visium. All tactical Scrambler rifles. I don't use the assault Scrambler rifle, but we'll get into that later, what the differences are and how you can apply the gun to different situations. But here's a little background information on the Scrambler rifle. It was introduced with the Uprising update. It accompanies the Galente plasma round based assault rifle. It is strong versus shields, weak versus armor, which means it is a laser weapon built by the Amar Empire. It's highly accurate, but it does 20% extra damage to shield, and it does negative 20% depletion to armor, which means that if an enemy has more shields than armor, the Scrambler rifle is going to be very effective and very deadly against them and kill them very quickly. The time to kill with the Scrambler rifle is very fast because it has a select fire type of shooting. The tactical Scrambler rifle, which is the base variant, and you will get into the assault variant after you reach level 4 on the weapon, has what is called a charge shot, where you can hold down the trigger and charge up a shot. The charge shot is very deadly, very powerful, and it has a high multiplier if it hits the target. The Scrambler rifle headshot multiplier is 350%, which is extremely high. It has a fire rate about 705 rounds per minute, which only the assault variant is really capable of obtaining. You can do it with the tactical variant, probably with a modded controller. However, because of the overheat buildup, it is not practical to use it in that sense. In fact, it will probably do you more harm than good, and more on that later. The tactical variant has 45 rounds in the clip, and the assault variant has 72 rounds in the clip. In this video, we're going to be concentrating on the tactical variant, because as an Amar Imperial Specialist, I do not believe the Assault Scrambler rifle should even be in the game. It is such a spray and pray weapon. I do not like it. I do not agree with it. So in this video, we're going to be concentrating on the base Scrambler rifle, the CRW, and the Visium prototype version, all with the same clip size of 45, and the damage escalates as you go higher and higher into the ranks. We'll also be covering what skills to use with the Scrambler rifle, what suits and setups and drop suit fittings you should be using with the Scrambler rifle. It really is a very niche weapon, and it's not ideal for all playstyles, all situations, and for all players. But I think you'll find that the gun is actually quite effective, quite fun to use, and really has the role of just being a quick time to kill killing machine on the battlefield. You will find that players end up fearing a Scrambler rifle on the field, probably more so than any other weapon. Alright, let's start off firsthand with the Scrambler rifle and what tactics you should be using in the gameplay. Everything from beginning to enhanced to advanced tactics for any type of play style. It is a long-range weapon. It has a very high effective long range. It's supposed to be not as good at short range, and you'll find this the case against other short-range specialty weapons such as sidearms, combat rifles, and even assault rifles. Its very high damaging output is usually trumped by getting within the comfort zone of the Scrambler rifle. I recommend that when you start off using the Scrambler rifle that you play at a distance and you don't go rushing into the objective or rushing into a sea of red dots. That will probably get you killed eventually, sooner or later, one way or another. It is a powerful gun, but it is very, very hard to go up against a close quarter, armor tanked enemy, such as Galente Sentinels and assault drop suits, and even scouts. Scrambler rifles fire what is called a volley, and a volley is where you hold a charge shot and then you release the charge shot into the enemy and quickly spam the trigger as fast as you can, trying to stay as accurate as possible to capitalize on the volley before the enemy has a chance to run back behind cover. This is probably the most effective way to use this gun. It is what makes it such a very, very quick time to kill weapon. I suggest really focusing and practicing your aim with this weapon. You'll also find that it's actually quite powerful with hip fire when it gets within close range, anything within 30 meters. but the red dot sight and the very low recoil on it does make it a great long range weapon. I really do recommend that you use a charge shot, and even so much as be a little cheeky and walk around while holding a charge using the Scrambler rifle. If you are taking fire, it is best to get behind cover and keep your distance, and while behind cover, planning your engagement, charge up the shot. Even in the middle of a gunfight, it is always good that you charge up a shot. Even if it's a half charge shot, it's always good to always lead with a charge shot. A charge shot can save you from being on the losing end of a gunfight to the winning end. You'll find that the Scrambler rifle is great at taking on multiple targets at certain ranges, but because of the heat buildup and the chance for a seize up of the weapon where you cannot sprint, cannot switch weapons, and you are unarmed for 5 whole seconds, it will lead to death if you are not very careful about the heat buildup. So always remember that a charge shot requires more heat, and we'll talk about how to reduce the heat buildup as time goes on when you're using the Scrambler rifle. But basically what you really should be doing, as with any gunfight, is picking your battles. It is excellent one-on-one, so I suggest always trying to have one-on-one engagements with the Scrambler rifle. If you come across a sentinel with a Logi in the back, I suggest picking on the Logi first. Take out the Logi, and you will probably then have a chance to regroup and try and kill the heavy. Also, Caldari. Caldaris are the shield tankers of Dust 514. They have more shields than armor. Very, very rarely do you see it the other way around. With the 20% bonus damage to shields, pick on the Caldari. If you see a group of targets, pick out the Caldari. You'll recognize the Caldari because they have more sharp edges and they have very angular designs in their drop suits. That is very Caldari motif. Pick on the Caldari. Even if it's a prototype Caldari surrounded by a bunch of starter fit noobs, I want you to pick on the Caldari, because one charge shot to a Caldari, if you land that charge shot, will zap almost all of his shields, if not all of his shields, and leave him very vulnerable and take him out of the fight. If he does get behind cover and you're not able to finish him off, well, then you only have easy targets left to pick on. So pick on Caldari. I know they're allies with the Amar if you pay attention to the Dust 514 lore, but on the battlefield there are no friends, there are only enemies, and the Caldari is your #1 prime target. Pick on Caldaris. If you see high shields in the information bar that they give you on enemies when you're aiming at them, that is the enemy you should be going for. The Scrambler rifle eats shields, especially if you can get a headshot. Okay, next there's a few things that you should really pay attention to when using the Scrambler rifle, how it's a little more unique than all the other types of rifles in the game. Laser technology in this game has what's called heat buildup, which means you can't just fire it continuously until the clip is empty. The gun builds up heat and then it backfires and causes feedback damage to the user, and then the user is immobile or dead. The immobility lasts for 5 seconds. There's no way to reduce that amount of time. The feedback damage for a Scrambler rifle is not as high as the laser rifle. It's only 20, so it's very rare that you will kill yourself with a Scrambler rifle backlash. However, if you do commit suicide with the Scrambler rifle, it was probably a good possibility that you were fighting tooth and nail and you were going to die anyways. So it's a great way to take away a kill from somebody and only give them a 25-point assist while you do your own honor of falling on your sword, as they might say. But you have to manage your heat. There's 2 ways you can manage your heat by using skills alone in this game. The Amar Assault Drop Suit reduces heat every level by 5%. So if you get to the prototype level 5 Amar Assault Drop Suit, the heat buildup of the gun will be reduced by 25% per shot, which allows you to fire 25% more shots. Also, the faster cooldown is the skill associated with the Scrambler rifle base skill, level 1 through 5. This shaves time on how fast the gun will cool down. As you will see by your ammo, there is a little red bar, or a semicircle red bar, and every time that bar goes up, that's my heat buildup. And when that heat buildup hits a certain crucial level, the gun will seize up and I am unarmed and unable to defend myself in any reasonable manner when that happens. It is very crucial that you get the feel for the heat buildup and do not get spoiled by relying too much on your SP investment of having a level 5 Scrambler rifle and having a level 5 Amar Assault Drop Suit. Now remember, those skills, even if you don't use the suits or the equipment, those skills still apply to even the lowest base model. So a level 1 Amar Assault Drop Suit will still have 25% less heat buildup, and a level 1 Scrambler rifle will still have the 25% bonus to cooldown. Some SP ideas you want to use for the Scrambler rifle are certainly core skills. You'll want to have the most shields and the most armor that you could possibly get on your suit, at least passively. However, you'll notice that the Scrambler rifle uses more CPU and more PG than other rifles of its variant, extremely high on the PG. However, this is not normally a problem if it's used with the Amar assault drop suits, because the Amar have more CPU and more PG to use. However, they do have the sacrifice of not as many slots like the Galente and the Caldari have. However, it's probably best and only possible to really max out this weapon's efficiency on your drop suit by having your drop suit core skills of electronics and engineering at least at a level 3 each. I would recommend that after you hit proficiency 5 with your Scrambler rifle, that maybe level 1 or 2 fitting optimization on the Scrambler rifle would also very much help you build the best suit you can possibly build. Anything past level 2 is almost not worth it in my opinion, as it is very expensive in SP to have a fitting optimization, as rightfully it should be. But if any gun warrants a fitting optimization, it is probably the Amar Scrambler rifle. In my opinion, you can use the Amar Scrambler rifle on other drop suits besides the Amar assault suit. I started using it on the Caldari suit. Because of the quick time to kill that it possesses, it's not very necessary to have the 25% bonus that you get with the Amar assault drop suit that can be applied towards a gun when wearing one of those Amar assault drop suits. However, if you want to reach multiple targets, or you're facing very heavily armored targets with more than 600 armor, I would suggest using the Amar assault suit, because those extra shots could definitely be the difference between life and death. You'll notice in the skill tree that there is no sharpshooter proficiency for the Scrambler rifle, so it's very important to get your shots on target. This is why it has a nice optical sight, which I think has just the right amount of zoom and visibility around the sight so you can see multiple targets at once and try to engage them appropriately. Know that the Scrambler rifle is probably the most powerful, highest DPSing rifle in the game on the battlefield. Knowing this will give you a great confidence in battle and allow you to be more fearless as you get more comfortable with the gun. It is perfectly okay eventually to go charging into a sea of red dots with it, because you know that your gun is capable of killing faster than their gun is capable of killing you if your aim is good. The Scrambler rifle really does award excellence to good marksmanship, good tactical awareness, and a braver type of playstyle. You will not see too many Scrambler rifles used in Planetary Conquest matches. In fact, I can only think of 4 or 5 permanent Scrambler rifle users in Planetary Conquest, and that is because of the high HP levels that players have, as well as the ability of a seize up. In Planetary Conquest, if the weapon is to seize up on you, it is going to cost you a clone. And also because of friendly fire capability in Planetary Conquest, as well as factional warfare, it is very easy to kill a teammate because of the high time to kill. If a teammate steps in front of your shots, there is a good chance that the teammate will die because you would have dealt a very high amount of damage to him. You'll notice that the Scrambler rifle has a very slow projectile time, meaning it takes longer for the projectile laser to cover a certain amount of distance than as opposed to, say, a combat rifle or an assault rifle or even a rail rifle. You will also find that the Scrambler rifle has a little nuance once in a while of double killing in the game, which means you will kill your enemy the same time he kills you. Although you have died first, your shots have taken longer to reach him, and even after you're dead, there's still 2 or 3 rounds traveling towards him and will hit him after you have died, and you will both have killed each other at the same time. It's actually, I think, a very neat aspect to the game, because it really does go back to factoring in that the Scrambler rifle will really reward a braver type of play style. And once the heat management is in your subconscious with this gun, where you don't have to even look at your heat bar, you just know when the heat is, you'll realize that a braver and braver type of playstyle will really benefit you with the Scrambler rifle. It is very much a tactical weapon in the sense that you need to fire at your enemies and push up and keep pushing and keep pushing. It is the front line weapon of the Amar Empire, and it is to be used as such in my opinion. So I hope you pick up the Scrambler rifle, give it a try, and have fun slaying in the name of the Empress and downing all the heretics that oppose her will in the Amar Empire.